Welcome to the podcast of Arturo and Silvia Escobar, a couple married for over 40 years and proud parents of 6 children who have dedicated their lives to serving and training families in the Illinois area. As realtors, their mission is not only to help you find your dream home or invest in real estate, but also to provide fresh and practical information that benefits our community. In each episode, Arturo and Silvia share tools, tips, and resources to strengthen families both financially and personally, including marriage courses that inspire couples to stay strong and committed. They also feature special guests who contribute valuable knowledge for the growth of your family and your future. This is a space created for you to inform, inspire, and accompany you on the journey towards your dreams. Welcome. This is Cafecito con los Escobar, the podcast.
Welcome everybody to one more episode of Cafecito con los Escobar. We are very excited to be here today with you, and we are I'd like to welcome my wife.
Thank you. Hi.
How are you feeling?
Good. Doing good.
Doing very
Yeah.
good this morning?
Yes.
Did you drink your coffee and
I have, yes, been drinking coffee.
good breakfast?
Good breakfast.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
you're ready to go?
I'm so set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm
So-
excited.
So what are we going to be talking about this morning?
Today we are going to be talking about the qualifications to buy a home.
Mhm.
So we're going to be talking about, specifically because a lot of people think that they can't buy a home because they've heard some things, and some of it is accurate information, some of it is misinformation. But today we're going to bring the facts so that people have a better idea of when it's time to think about buying a home.
And I have to say that this is very simple, general information. Details need to be addressed with your lender, with your bank, but in general, these are important steps that a person who is interested in buying a home should take,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
And just jumping into the program,
Mm-hmm.
the very first important element when you're ready to buy your home is employment.
Mm-hmm.
And employment has to do with the amount or your income, and the employment versus income has to do with the amount that the person qualifies to buy the home. And there are some factors that affect the employment. For example, the general requirement for employment is to be employed or to have an employment history of at least 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that it has to be continuous. It means that that for the last 2 years you had to have been able to be employed and bring income to your household. So, but if you stay unemployed for 2 months, less than 2 months, that doesn't stop your 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Your 2 years history. Also, a very important factor is if you change jobs from one job and then you move to a bit different ones where you're making more money or is closer to home or is has better benefits, that still continue as a employment, a continuous employment, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
and is considered as a 2 years history.
Yes.
If you are unemployed for less than 2 months, again, it's continuous 2 years employment. Other factors that are not considered as unemployment are if you are taking care of an elder person, a family, or you are on a maternity leave. All
Mhm.
those are factors that don't affect your employment history.
Mhm.
So, any other thing that you want to add to this?
So just in general, if a person, for example, comes from a different state and starts working here, but
Mhm.
they've been working in a different state, they just came that also can count. And we've got to look at it from the perspective of the bank, right? And for the specifics requirements of employment, it's because the bank wants to make sure that the person has been responsible for the last 2 years in a
Mhm.
continuous receiving of income,
Mhm.
right? Because they're going to be, taking out loan for 15, 30 years. You want to make sure that the person can pay for that. And as you were saying before, that also you want to make sure that you can pay for that. So you have to be in a continuous employment, whether it be that you had two different employments. The other thing is actually being a full-time student,
Yes, also
right? And then going into a full-time job also counts. So that can be applied toward the 2 years because the person was preparing themselves for the job that they were going to have.
that's real good, and that's very important.
Mhm.
Any other factors? So employment is important. What else is important?
The other thing that we want to talk about a little bit is the credit. So when we talk about credit, it's so funny because some people come up to me and they'll say, I don't know if I have good credit. I have 700 something, which is amazing credit. It's an amazing credit. And that's what we're talking about with the information. And that's why we're talking about it today, because sometimes we think we know something, or sometimes we're not sure and we just default to, I don't think I can do it. And this thing about credit, let's take a little bit out of the mystery of it. So the credit points are considered from different factors. Okay, 35% of our credit points come from our payment history. So it's really important that we be timely in the payment in our payments, because late payments can stay in our credit history for a while. So one of the things that I like to do is put everything on automatic, because if I put everything on automatic and I consider when the due date is and I do it a few days before, I know that everything is going to happen, timely. Now I do it a few days before because some places it takes a while to process, right? And so you'll see sometimes the options of processing, but in general, keeping it in automatic helps us to stay timely. And then because 35% of our credit points are considered through our payment history. 30% of our points come from the amounts that we actually owe. So our debt. So if we have credit cards, let's say we have 2 credit cards and we have the credit cards are maxed out, meaning that we're almost at the limit. That is not credit, that's debt, right? So we want to keep our credit cards in general around 30% of what we qualify for. So if for example it was $100 and $30, right? And then we want to make those payments monthly so that we don't get behind and we don't get charged interest. It's really important to learn how to manage credit cards, because credit cards can be a tool, but they can also be dangerous for us if we don't understand them. So it's really important to read the small print on your credit cards. What is the interest rate that they're charging? And then and things like that. One of the things that we like to recommend to parents while their kids are still at home is to, if you have a good credit, then go ahead and get a card out for your child in their name and help them learn about credit. Because come high school graduation, when they're trying to get into college, they will be bombarded with letters from different credit companies telling them, offering them a lot of things. So we want to be able to be there at that time to help them walk through this process of borrowing the credit card. And it also helps their credit. If you have good credit and you share your credit with your child, you're lifting up their credit as well. So it's a really good thing to do. Then going back to this points of the credit, 10%. So 35% is payment history, 30% is amount owed, 10% is the types of credit. So there are some credits that have more weight than others, right? So some people like to take out, because there's great offers sometimes in buying furniture, and they say, well, you take out credit card, it's 0% interest for a year, but it's a credit card that's for that furniture store. And while that benefits you for your furniture, right? If you're planning to pay it in a year, then you don't have to pay any interest. However, take into account 2 things. One of them, the credit card, that particular credit card does not hold a lot of weight when you're trying to qualify for buying a home as a good credit, as a good credit card. Usually it's like MasterCard, Visa kind of credits. The other thing is that you are increasing your loan amount, your debt amount. So when you're trying to qualify for a home, they look at your income to debt ratio. How much of your income is taken already by the debt that you already have, and that consideration will also include the furniture that you're buying and the debt that you have to buy that furniture. So we need to keep in mind these things depending on what our long-term goal is.
So credit cards are not bad, right? Even though they have a
bad rap
up there.
Yeah.
Credit cards are not bad. Instead, they help you build your credit when managed accordingly, when managed properly. And one of the ways that managing properly your credit card is very, very important. Pay your debt, pay the money that you have used in your credit card before the end of the cycle every month. That will have two effects. One, you'll never pay interest because you're paying before the interest is applied on your account. And two, that will show how in control your finances are, and then your credit score is going to increase faster. So those are two very important elements on how can you manage your credit cards, to use it as an advantage to build your credit and to build your potential to buy a home.
Correct. Okay. So 15% of the points is also the length of credit history. So if we've had a long history, they can get a better view of how responsible we are, right? So then the amount of time that we've had credit and that we've used it responsibly works in our favor, just like the amount of time that we've had credit and we've used it irresponsibly also shows on our credit. And then 10% of these credit points are for new credit. So any new credit that we've taken out and how we've acted with that. Now it's only 10% because we can't see the history of it. We don't know yet how we're going to do with that. So the bank counts it, but it does, or the credit bureaus count it, but it doesn't really have a lot of weight. So the biggest weight comes from payment histories and amounts owed.
Yep. The balances on your credit account.
Yes.
So far we have employment, we have your credit, and then we have the down payment. Much is said in media or in advertisement, in real estate sites about the down payment. When you see a real estate home being, when you see a home being advertised, and they show you the payment, most likely is going to be only the principal and interest. Taxes are not included there. The other thing that they're using is 20% down, which is a large amount as a down payment and will reduce your mortgage payment. The truth is that there are different programs that you can apply to buy your first home. As a first-time home buyer, you could use 3%, 3.5%, 5%, 10%, other factors being good. That will be a requirement. That could be the requirement. You could start with 3% conventional loan or 3.5% FHA loan, and without needing to have that large amount of savings to get into your first home once you are qualified and you can afford the payment.
Yes. So that, I think, one of the good things about this whole down payment is that, for example, going back to the credit can be a tool, it could be leverage to be able to get the best possible down payment opportunities and interest. Right? So those are really good things to know. The other thing is the income tax returns. So the income tax returns, we have to have, one of the qualifications for buying a home is that you have to have 2 years of reported tax returns. Now, I want to talk a little bit about people who are self-employed. So people who are self-employed have to also report their 2 years of taxes. In fact, going back to the employment, if the person has been employed with a W-2, receiving a W-2, but then opens up their own business and leaves their other job, that one has to basically start over. You have to have 2 years of history in your business, and you have to show that you have a profit. And the reason is because the bank wants to know that your business is profitable. So one of the problems with that is that our mentality sometimes is, let's write off as much as possible. Let's make the least amount so that we can pay the least amount of taxes. The problem with that is that then you take this return that shows a loss or that shows very little profit, you take it to the bank to see if you can qualify for a home, and then you're shocked to find out that you don't qualify because you're not making much income. Now, you may be making enough income, but you didn't report it that way. So one of the things that we need to keep in mind when we're filling out our taxes, we have to do the same thing as self-employed realtors, right? Is that we have to consider what our long-term goal is. If our long-term goal is to be able to prove that we qualify to purchase a home or make an investment or whatever the goal is, we want to be able to show that in our income taxes. So as we're getting ready to prepare for our income taxes for at the end of 2026, we want to keep that in mind when we're reporting. What is it? Just because you can write it off doesn't mean that that fits into your long-term goal. You need to be able to make sure that you qualify for the things that you want to qualify for. And so that's a tip. You can always go backwards. You can talk to your accountant and they can do adjustments, but then you're going to have to pay whatever the difference is at the moment. So
another factor to consider is that there are types of loans that with a large down payment, you can buy your home, your building without proven income. But again, there are other factors that you have to consider, like a large down payment, maybe even a little bit higher interest rate, but it doesn't stop you to buy a home if you are prepared to give a large down payment during the process. So there are ways without showing the paperwork about income if you are prepared financially to support your purchase with a large down payment. So,
yeah.
Right?
Yes, I think that's a really good thing to know. Like so if you're listening to this podcast and you say, well, I don't have that, so then I can't. Actually, a conversation will help us determine which things we can have more of because this one is below average. So there's adjustments that can be made, right? And we need to hear the story, the whole thing, to be able to determine what the opportunity is there.
Each family, each person is different and handle their finances differently, but there are ways to apply the style of financing or finances so that we can help them get their home. So we do have employment credit, down payment, income tax returns, and another thing that is very important and very close to our heart is to serve those people with that their employment is under 18. There are a lot of programs out there maybe not allowed, but there are programs out there that in which a person working and reporting their income under the 18, they can buy their home. It varies from down payment from 5. We have a person who can give you a 5% down payment if the house is in Cook County, and the interest rate is very good. It of course has to do with credit and all of those things, but a person with a good credit could start with a good interest rate. So there are ways that are depending on the situation of the location of the home, 10%, 15%, 25%, and if you're capable of buying it cash, it's even better. But yeah, the 18, when people report their income taxes under 18, yes, they can buy a home. You can buy a home with 18.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing from today is don't disqualify yourself. Find out first if you really do qualify or not. And if you don't qualify, we don't believe in just saying no. One of the people in our seminar this week said, or last week that we had said, that they went to a realtor and the realtor said, you don't qualify, come back when you do. Like, what? It's crazy because we create a strategy for you. We help you create a strategy so that you can buy your home. You may not be able to do it now, but you need to know what you need in order to be able to do it later, right? And so we say all the time, the market does not determine your goals. The market determines your strategy, right?
Right.
And we got that from a good coach of ours that we love, and we really try to adopted to ourselves as well.
Mhm.
But that goes to the last point, and that is we really want to have a mindset of growth. I think it's a very important part of this whole process because the process is simple to understand, but it's not always easy to go
Yes.
through. Some challenges might come along the way. Very few people are able to smoothly write out their whole first home buying
Okay.
experience. There are some challenges starting from the very beginning where people have to bring their, we give you we recommend a lender. You have to go they'll give you a list of all the things that you have to bring in, and it's your income taxes, and it's your pay stubs, and it's all of these other things. And if you're not organized, that might take you a while to get together.
Mhm.
Might be discouraging and overwhelming. But people who have that determination will push through all of those obstacles and get that in to be able to get the information that they need to be able to see if they qualify now or if they qualify later. There are different factors along the way that might take a little while, but
Mhm.
but the mentality of growth will help us push through. I've seen some amazing people. I've
Mhm.
seen some single moms who have so many things against them from things that they have gone through, and they have pushed through and gotten their home. And I just really appreciate, same thing with couples, same thing with single people who want to start early. There's just so many amazing stories. I think we could be here all day just
Mhm.
talking about amazing stories of people. But one of the things that they have in common is this mentality and determination to push through to be able to buy their home.
Having a goal, having a big why to achieve that goal, and a determination to get there is very important. That's the mindset that we have to have in order to achieve goals to get where we want to be. And if you have any questions, we are here to help you, to engage you in the process with good people that we work with, and to get to the point where you, with good planning, you will have your home, you will have your place. May not happen right now, like Sylvia was saying, but with planning, with a great mindset, we'll get there.
Mhm. We will walk with you the whole way. So, okay, thank you for being here. We hope that this information is valuable to you. Remember that every situation is different, and also remember the information should be free. So our initial consultation is free. The loan officer is free. That information is free. You should get your information directly according to your situation, according to your state. And so we are here to help you. If you have found this helpful, we would ask that you would like and that you would follow this podcast. We have more information coming every month. We have a new topic, and we have some things coming up. So if you speak Spanish and you would be interested, I had a conversation with a woman that motivated me to start this new group of women that have a vision for their finances. So this is going to be in Spanish, but it is going to be on Zoom, and it starts on August 11th. If you go into my Facebook page, Silvia Escobar, you will find a little blurb about it, and then you can put C, and I will send you the invitation for that. It starts on August 11th, and then on August 7th, we also have another Zoom, and this is a continuation on our class of Monsters and Marriages, also in Spanish. And then one is going to be talking about intimacy. So if you or somebody that you know would like to be in either one of these, please let them know. Please pass the information or register yourself. And then in English, on August 18th, we're going to be having a webinar on Zoom that's about the seminar that we had in Spanish, where we're talking about investors who were also afraid to take that first step. If that's something that interests you, all of this information will be attached for you to be able to register to whatever you like. So thank you for being here.
That's it. But see you next time.